spent by December, doesn't it? By the end of
Yes,
December?
the new CARES money, yes.
Yeah, that
We have to-
the
I think-
controlling board just
I think
released.
we have to encumber it. And
We have to encumber it. Okay, very
something
good.
by December 31st.
Very good. Okay.
I would
I
use
haven't seen that yet.
I would use the caveat to say though that only with air conditioning. I would not buy one without air conditioning, especially for special needs students.
Right,
I would
okay.
think for $6,000 extra we
Oh,
get
I
air
think it's
conditioning. Yeah.
Definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then the next thing on here is, we do this every summer. Even if I don't purchase buses, they go out, Meta goes out to bid for us. And then that way, at least we went through the bid process and got the best prices. So that's what that is there. And then I missed the VoIP services, which is our telephone with Maveka. I did the internet, but I missed the VoIP for some reason. So that's on there. And my amended certificate, which is the revenue piece, #1 for this year, and gifts and donations.
Okay, I entertain a motion to approve those. Moved by Mrs. Corzine, second by Mrs. Shoemaker. Roll.
Mrs. Corzine, Mr. Mullen,
Yes.
Mr. Hartmus,
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Mr. Bonner.
Yes.
Okay. Debbie, thank you very much. Any progress? Okay.
Oh,
Okay. So let's go ahead through the superintendent recommendation, then we can open up to any online questions after that. So,
So I'm requesting approval for A through M, and this one includes the facial mask covering policy, which we're required to have given the COVID issues. It includes the athletic handbook, the remote learning plan, which we have reviewed with the staff. I believe 712 will go over the plan tomorrow, and also several personnel issues in there. And then the walk zone increase as well from 1.1 mile to 1.25, that students would walk and not ride the bus. Aaron knows that.
Aaron, how many people did that eliminate from busing? Okay. Okay. Well, the only option is to just get another bus to run around and pick those kids up.
Now, obviously, after we run it a couple times, we might be able to tweak some things. That's what we're hoping, is after a couple days of running the routes, we'll be able to make some minor adjustments.
Okay. Any other questions on anything that's recommended? One thing you will notice in here is you see a number of teachers assigned to be in online instruction. Our numbers continue to grow with that. We, credit to our administrators. They have put together an incredible online program that, rather than just using an online service, our teachers are involved. We have mentors involved. Extracurricular activities are offered. STEM classes are offered. So it's really a fantastic, and we're, as word's getting out with that, we reopened last week, the registration to it. And since we've reopened, we've got, Sarah, another 100 kids probably just since we reopened. And I would expect another 100 kids yet this week. So if not more, so.
And, we feel very strongly that we want to provide instructional support to the students on VLA, because VLA is not modified. It's straight the standards for that grade level. And we'll also provide special education support for those students with disabilities. We'll still implement their IEPs through teletherapy, and the intervention specialists will work with those kiddos also online. But we do really want to provide a lot more support to kids online. We didn't go online last year, but it's different. It's much different than sitting in a classroom, and they're going to need some help.
That plus we've also had quite a few people open enroll into the district because of this online that we're offering. And we want to take this opportunity to show them everything that we do here at Chillicothe. And so when everyone feels comfortable being back in the classrooms, they don't go back to their school. They stay here with us. So honors and AP courses. The Virtual Learning Academy has some honors and AP courses. We're going to work on supplementing that. You know, for example, there's really no, Alyssa, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no music or arts AP with the VLA. So we're going to put those programs together ourselves so kids don't miss out on that. Yep.
And there's some limited credit flex options as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendations.
Second.
I make a motion.
Moved by Mr. Bonner, second by Mrs. Shoemaker. Roll.
Mr. Hartmus,
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemaker,
Yes.
Mr. Bonner,
Yes.
Mrs. Corzine, Mr. Mullins.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And so let's make some introductions. First off, I think everyone knows Sarah Hawthorne, who is going to be serving as our coordinator of the online learning and wellness. She's already asked for a raise and a bonus, so.
Did I?
No.
But yeah, Sarah's doing a fantastic job already, and she's really going to be great at this. So, and this is something, when this is all said and done, we want to continue to offer a very strong online program. So Sarah will really do great at
Gonna be
this.
with
And
us.
Mhm.
This isn't gonna go away.
Oh, no. And building principals, if you have some teachers here, can you introduce, or some of our new teachers, can you introduce them for us, please?
All right, good evening. The middle school is proud to welcome Nick Winland. He's going to be our new 8th grade science and STEM teacher. So
Nick.
Nick is going to be joining us at the middle school, 8th grade. And then we have at the high school of integrated science, a Shelby Shelley. And it's always an alliteration. And she will be teaching integrated science, which includes more specifically project-based science and biology.
Yep, I met Shelby the other day, so yep,
Freshman
welcome both of you.
And
Josh,
then
you-
also, Leah Sewell, she's going to be the preschool
Yep.
speech pathologist.
Leah, welcome. Thank you. Interesting times you're joining us in, but welcome, but I think you're going to like it. So are we up and running on the stream? Okay, so Alyssa, do we have any questions, online questions?
It looks like Kristen Parks from 10 Ledgewood Drive would like to participate in public participation.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to get invited.
Yeah.
Contrary to what I believe.
Kristen Parks.
Matt, you had it at one point. Why didn't you put it back?
So Kristen Parks, 10 Ledgewood Drive. She states students switching classes at CIS, CMS, and CHS plan has teachers cleaning desks. Students are not allowed to touch the spray. Where will students go while the desks are being cleaned, and who will monitor them?
Aaron, do you?
I'm going to address the spray. Isn't like a,
What we will do in our conversations. In our conversations, we have discussed, students will likely dismiss and be waiting depending on the staggered time and where they're coming from. So there will be a flow of kids leaving and then entering the classroom periodically. It won't be a mad rush. The idea or the concept is that as kids come in and or are waiting outside, we will maintain social distancing as best we can. Let's keep in mind that students and staff will be wearing masks, ideally maintaining 6 feet. However, whether it's in the hallway waiting prior to, there's no reason also why a student cannot enter the room while disinfecting, cleaning is taking place. So we will simply convey to students that they need to maintain social distancing as best they can. Again, 6 feet optimum is the optimal distance that we'd like. But there's no reason that kids can't be coming into the room as teachers are wiping down desks. That's not something necessary. What we have decided that based on safety data sheets as it applies to disinfectant, and this applies to any household cleaning item, it clearly states, keep out of the reach of children. Now, from a standpoint of a parent of a 16-year-old, I speak personally to that. I don't see a reason why my son or those that are of an older age couldn't help or participate. And I
Right.
certainly see no reason why they can't be in the room when we're disinfecting with a safe, a chemical. The whole idea is that they're not actually cleaning the surfaces. So
Okay.
hopefully that suffices.
Brenda Southworth has asked the following questions. She would like to hear again the measures being taken to ensure student and staff safety, and are you guaranteeing smaller class sizes at all grade levels to ensure the optimum 6 feet distancing? And do we have a plan for how students will share textbooks or books when there aren't enough for every student at a grade level?
So textbook question.
I can answer that.
Okay.
So basically that's kind of a by building dependent on what the actual issue is. So if it is an actual textbook, we're certainly not looking at sharing a book across 6 or 7 different kids. So in different buildings, sometimes we have online access to those books. Sometimes they're outdated materials we typically just don't have extra copies of, but we can look at digitizing some of that information. In some grade levels, we have actually purchased additional books with some of the CARES money to accommodate a whole grade level of students, so everyone has their own. In the primary building, we're looking at bagging certain books, so a student would keep a certain book that they'd be reading for a day or two, and then we would put those books in a location for a few days where no one would touch them, and then we could reintroduce them into the student learning population for that.
I think I've heard that, I think at Ohio State libraries, after they get a book returned, it's quarantined for 5 days, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, we
So
talked
is
about
that the same guidance we've received? So,
If anybody's looked at ultraviolet light treatment for books.
I don't know. We've got ultraviolet light in our HVAC systems at the elementary building, so. But I don't know. As far as the small class sizes, I think the best way to put that is another reason why we wanted to offer so much into our online instruction is because we wanted to kind of get to a modified hybrid model and still have kids being in the classroom. Right now, we are slightly over 30% of our kids are signed up for online learning, for remote learning, and that number's going up. We're over halfway to what school districts are doing with hybrid models already. So as that number continues going up, our classroom sizes are definitely going to continue to go down.
And they're pretty manageable right now. We're right around 15 per K through 6, excuse me, about 15 per class. And the principals have gone through all the buildings and, measured to the, clearly we want 6 feet. We're trying to get as close to that as we can. As more kids go online, we'll obviously be able to do that. The reopening plan, I've encouraged staff to read that. It actually contains all of the information about what we're going to be doing. So I would reiterate that. Look at the remote or the reopening plan. I sent that last night in an email to all of you and to the staff, and that'll discuss how we're going to sanitize things, how we're going to, the requirements for masking and hand washing and distancing and health assessments for staff and students, quarantining. Everything's in that plan, and we'll review that plan tomorrow afternoon with the health department to see if they've got any further recommendations.
So, from the time of our last board meeting, the masking, I shouldn't say masking because we're allowing facial coverings, which includes neck gaiters, et cetera. So, which for a lot of kids, I think the neck gaiters are going to be more comfortable. So, it changed from a recommendation, and based off the more information we received, it was changed to a requirement for intermediate school, high school, and recommended for the K2 students. And we did clear that through the Ross County Health District, and they agreed with they said they agreed with recommending, but we're going to have masks there for kids in that grade. Aaron's got them stacked all over the place, and they're still coming in. So we're going to try to get as many K2 kids wearing them as we can. But for intermediate, middle school, high school, all staff members, it is required. And the one thing I would encourage, and we've talked about, and Alyssa, I know, was forwarding some information to Josh to see if we could get some Wi-Fi access outside of the buildings. While the weather's nice, we're going to encourage teachers to go outside and hold class. I know a lot of colleges are doing that. I know I've talked to other school districts across the state that are planning on doing that. Here at the high school, middle school, we've got a big park down here. I'm sure Bill won't mind if we use that. So that's,
Well, and the STEM teachers have put together a lot of activities for teachers to implement in the classrooms that'll also address the textbook issue, kids outside. So that's something that we're really encouraging as well.
right now, some of the guidance that we did receive and what we've decided is that vocal and instrumental music we'll have to practice outside. I've heard of other school districts that are letting them practice inside, but that's not what the recommendation it says to do. The recommendation says that you need to have way too much space to do that in. So they're going to be able to go outside for a while, and then we'll just have to wait and see here in a few months.
Yeah.
What happens with that? Whether the guidance changes, or I'm sure other things are available
Yeah,
for
by
us.
then,
So
by October, there may be some new information available
Yeah.
to us.
Brenda Southworth has another question. If the governor or Ross County Health Department changes Ross County's level prior to August 10th, will that delay our restart?
it could. We're going to rely off the guidance from the Ross County Health District. I mean, we're not locked in that, we're definitely going to be here no matter what. If things change, and we're going to change. We have 2 weeks built into the schedule. The question would be, if we are not able to come back for a week or 2 weeks, what do we use that 2 weeks now, or do we put it on at the end of the year? What do we do? So, or do we just come out with a new calendar maybe?
Yeah.
So
We may have to do that.
So we'll have to figure that out but we're going to want as much seat time in the buildings as we can for these kids. But no, that the Ross County Health District, like I said, we're meeting with them again tomorrow. They've been phenomenal to work with, and they've been very honest in their guidance with us, and we really appreciate it. So anything else?
One more comment from Brenda Southworth. With students and staff going back to homes with family members who work in high-risk situations, many are concerned about the virus being brought in that way. Do you share those concerns, and what is the plan?
Could you repeat that again?
With students and staff going back to homes with family members who work in high-risk situations, many are concerned about the virus being brought in, I assume, to school in that way. Do you share those concerns, and what is the plan?
Well, I mean,
Let's follow the health department guidelines,
exactly.
the governor's guidelines.
I think we should all be concerned about this. I mean, we have to learn to live with it for a while. So, and we may have to learn to live with it for a year or so. I mean, it's just what it is. For students who are in that high risk of a situation, I would hope that they're doing the responsible thing and signing up for online classes rather than risking bringing that in. One thing, Natalie's here. Okay. Natalie, any thoughts on that, or? That's what happens when you have foggy glasses, Natalie, and I can't see you out there.
Oh,
These masks.
are we meaning kids that are high risk that have medical conditions, or are we talking about?
means somebody goes home and somebody at home works in a hospital or works.
So really, there's no way to determine who would be at the highest, or at a higher risk.
Mhm.
I think everybody in general, there is always a risk. So I think what we've put in place, or what we're placing in the school, is going to help, hopefully, to keep that from happening. So.
And the one thing, of course, Natalie's guided and first off, everyone, what an incredible job Natalie Harbert's done over these last few months working with us, getting through this. Natalie, thank you for all of your efforts. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
But the one thing, the guidance we've received from various groups and was reiterated by the Ross County Health District a few weeks ago was, if everyone's wear your mask, watch your distancing, and wash your hands. And we're here now. You're hearing evidence coming out that doing those things is as good as a hard lockdown now. So we want to be vigilant about it. We don't want to be punitive if a kid takes one off or something, but we want to make sure that they're leaving them on. So as staff members, we need to model that behavior too.
And, making sure that we are checking our own health before we come into work.
Yep.
If you're sick, stay home.
And that's going to be key. And, if there's one thing we learned through this whole pandemic is when you're sick, stay home.
Yeah.
Now, some of the evidence that has been shown in the Southern Hemisphere now where it's flu season, it's winter and flu season, is they're having a very, very mild flu season because people are maintaining social distancing. They're wearing masks. They're staying home when they're sick. And all of a sudden it's a very mild flu season. So hopefully we're able to continue that, and we'll need to be very vigilant. I'm sure Natalie's going to be all over us when flu season starts rolling around here in a few months to be vigilant about that. So, Ms. Putnam, anything else? Okay. Thank you for those questions. We appreciate them. Board member comments.
I do have a question. I've been asked this question a couple of times by parents. Are kids to bring book bags and their standard supplies to school with them on day one, or because we're going to provide some supplies, or where is
bring
that?
their
And
book
there may be a
bags.
letter that went out and I don't know about it.
Yeah,
but-
they can bring their book bags and lunchbox, but we're providing supplies K through 6, so they don't need to send any supplies in. Alyssa, I don't know where we ever landed with 712 with the supplies. Or Matt.
712, we'd obviously encourage them on the first few days of school to bring in the basics. Obviously, a book bag, lunches are welcome.
Pencils,
And then
Water bottles.
water. Oh yeah, water
bottles.
All students need to bring their water bottle because,
correct.
do we have all the fountains taped off yet or shut down
Our
yet?
water fountains will be taped off.
Okay.
They're not currently in
Okay.
our building. I
And
can't speak
will
to the
they be
others.
able to get a refill somehow through the day? Okay.
So then just basic notebook, paper, and pens and pencils for the first day. And then they'll get supply lists because we have such a varying number of courses and what
Right.
we need. Rather than, it's hard to put out one supply list, 712, just because it depends on what courses you're taking. So they'll get supply lists, and certainly our teachers are flexible. The first few, I'd say even weeks of school, they're going to have time to get those supplies. And if they can't, they just need to talk to their teacher, and we can make sure we get supplies that are necessary.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Bill?
Yeah, just a couple of things. First of all, just really give all the credit in the world to Ms. Swinehart and the administration. I think they've gone above and beyond the call, and we're there's no guarantees, but man, I think we've done a great job getting things in line for a challenging situation.
Thank you.
Yeah, yes, I mean, it's been tough. And then on a much different, lighter note, maybe I wanted to say this last time, we kind of got bogged down. Congratulations and thank you to all that helped with the Neil Johnson statue. Particularly, Bruce Kaplinger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is really, I think, outstanding. Mr. Johnson's athletic records speak for themselves, but and I never knew him personally. Our paths did cross once when I was, much younger, about 11 or 12. I didn't even know who he was. I don't know why he's such a well-kept secret around here. But from everything I know about him, he was a great man of character and integrity, and someone we can be proud that was from Chillicothe High School. And so
Looks
thank
really
all
nice.
those people for a great job.
We hope to have a ceremony with that here, hopefully in the next month or two, things are settled down enough to where we're comfortable to do that. Of course, it is an outside gathering, so we'll probably be able to, but we just want to make sure. There's a few more things to add to it that are still coming, but yeah, they did a fantastic job, and it's a cool looking statue. It really looks neat.
Very,
Yeah,
very nice.
really
It's
does.
very nice. They did a good job.
Anything else?
There are a couple more public participation questions.
That's too. We go on all night, Steve.
All right.
Let's go.
What are they? Look,
They can be addressed by building
I'm sorry, I made it.
okay. If they're more building principal, make sure to get them to the building principal and get those answered. So, yeah. Any other questions? Feel free to call the board office and ask the questions. We're confident in the plan we've put together. but we're also flexible enough to switch to change course when we need to change course on this. And if we need to get, one thing I did tell a lot of the teachers the other day in a meeting, we have not really worked on a hybrid plan. The more we discussed the idea of hybrid plan, the less we liked it. Coming in 2 days, being online the rest of the time. What happens after 5 days when those kids come back on that first of 2 days? These teachers aren't going to get anything accomplished. You know, so the only plan that really made much sense was a 1 week on, one in the building, 1 week online. And then we heard from a lot of parents that was even worse for them as far as sitters and things like that. So if we need to, if it's not safe to be in the buildings at some point because of what's happening in the community, we will go completely online at that point. Of course, the students who are already signed up in the VLA will stay in the VLA. I think the thoughts are that the teachers would be in the classrooms.
Yes.
The teachers will be in the classrooms doing their online instruction. We are in a much better place than we were in March to provide that remote instruction. That was a struggle, you know, and everyone's to be commended for the work that they did, but it was a struggle. We're in a much better position now to do that. And I think we're in a better position that if it looked like we were going to have to do it for a long period of time, that we could actually build on. Even as much as, you know, providing regular periods throughout the day for the students to where they're logged into their first period, their second period, whatever. So, but yeah, so otherwise, you know, I'm with Bill. You know, I've been working with these administrators and watched them over the last few months, and they've done an incredible job. Debbie and Alyssa and Kathy, Aaron, the building principals have all just done an incredible job, and we really appreciate it. And I already mentioned all the hours Natalie's had to put in this summer for us. So really appreciate everything that you've done. And you know, anything that you need, you know, we may have a board meeting here in the next week or two, depending on what comes down from the governor's office as far as athletics, et cetera. Personally, I'm not very confident on contact sports this fall. Right now, it is still, every kid would have to be tested within 72 hours of the event and then be quarantined until the game. Yeah. No spectators allowed, et cetera. So, you know, things are definitely going to have to change before football and soccer can take place. So we'll see what comes out of the governor's office and the Ohio Department of Health. You know, one thing I did see is that the Ohio Department of Health is saying no spectators, I believe, at any athletic events.
Yeah, a new email came out tonight, but I haven't had a chance to read it from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. I don't know what it says. I don't know, Matt, if you read it.
I said you haven't said, yeah. So but I know that there was something from ODH that was posted today about no spectators. So, and honestly, you know, there's not going to be, if something happens, there's going to be very few spectators allowed anyway. So, because, you know, the requirements are going to be that we have to take temperatures of every spectator that comes in, everything else. And that's a pain. That's a pain. So we may, depending on what does come down the pike from the Department of Health or the governor's office in the next couple of weeks, we may have to have a special meeting to approve some policy or approve some new processes. So we will keep you updated on that. And if there is nothing else, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Hartness. Second by Mr. Bonner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.